Okay, let's do some determining reducing and oxidizing agent, just doing some redox reactions and seeing best how to handle those. And so um, what I first do is I first go through and I assign oxidation states to everything. So let's take this problem right here. Okay, so barium, if you remember our rules, then barium by itself, the oxidation state has to be a 0. Chlorine itself has to be a 0. Okay, that is an element by itself, and those are the rules. The chloride ion, this is an ionic compound, the chloride ion has to be a -1, and that makes barium a +2. Those are the charges of the ions in that ionic compound. Okay, so what I do is I say, okay, chlorine goes from a 0 to a -1. Its oxidation state has been reduced. It's gone down. So it has been reduced. Therefore, that's what's causing the oxidation of barium. And so this is the oxidizing agent. Okay, so chlorine has been reduced. Its oxidation state has gone down. It's been reduced. And by definition, then we call that the oxidizing agent. All right, let's look at barium now. Barium goes from a 0 to a +2. It has been oxidized. It has lost electrons. It has been oxidized. Its oxidation state goes up. Therefore, it is the reducing agent. Okay? So what if I ask on a test, or somebody asks on a test, then you would say that the oxidizing agent is Cl2. If it's asked what's been reduced, it is Cl2. If the question asks for the reducing agent, you would say it is barium. And again, if what elements have been oxidized, it is barium that's been oxidized. Therefore, it's the reducing agent. Okay, it's not. I don't think it's that confusing. If something is reduced, that means it's the oxidizing agent. If something is oxidized, we call that the reducing agent because it's causing the chlorine, or it's in conjunction with the chlorine being reduced. Okay, let's go to this next problem. Let's assign oxidation states. Oxygen is always going to be a -2. Let's just go ahead and do them all. Then a -2. All right, the sulfur here, then I have a video on assigning oxidation states. The sulfur then has to be a +6. Hydrogen's going to be a +1. It's going to be a +1 here. And so the only way the oxidation state of sulfur then has to be a +6. Now, if you've forgotten how to assign oxidation states, go watch that video. I don't want to go over it here. But let's start drawing our lines. Okay, so sulfur goes from a +6 to a +6. Oxygen goes from a -2 to a -2. Hydrogen goes from a +1 to a +1. Nothing has been oxidized or reduced. This is a very real reaction, but it's just not an oxidation reduction reaction. Okay, this is no redox. No redox has happened here. Something has happened. It's just not an oxidation reduction reaction. Let's go down to this combustion reaction that we have here. So let's assign our hydrogen to be a +1. That means that carbon then has to be a -4. Oxygen by itself in its elemental state is a 0. CO2, the oxygen CO2 is a -2, which would make this carbon a +4. Again, we have a -2 and a +1. All right, let's start drawing our arrows. Carbon goes from a -4 to a +4. It's a massive change, isn't it? It has been oxidized. Therefore, it is the reducing agent. Oxygen goes from a 0 to a -2. Okay, it has been reduced. Therefore, oxygen is the oxidizing agent. Makes sense. We have oxygen, oxidizing agent, and I'm sure it might happen somewhere. Oxygen is always going to be an oxidizing agent. Okay, so what are my answers going to be? Oh, the oxidizing agent is going to be O2. What has been reduced is the O2. Okay, the reducing agent is going to be the CH4. And those elements that have been oxidized is this, or the compound is the CH4. Okay, oftentimes this is how it's asked. There are some ALEKS questions that will say, "Oh, what are the compounds being reduced?" So that's why I'm kind of saying that this, and this can also be an ALEKS answer. But usually I would ask it like this. I think a lot of people ask it like that. I misstated just a little bit earlier, just circled the wrong thing. But this is often how questions are asked. What's the oxidizing agent? What's the reducing agent? And we can figure this out. Assign oxidation states, draw your arrows, whatever is being reduced in its oxidation state, that is the oxidizing agent. And then whatever is being oxidized is the reducing agent. Okay, my friends, go over that. You can do it. Practice it a few times. Don't let AI do it for you. This is better than AI and often better than the way that the ALEKS people explain it as well.